There was no romantic relationship with Mr. Wade until early in 2022, whether it be January or February or March, early in 2022, correct?
I would say sometime between February and April. Yes, sir.
I've never been to East Point with Miss Willis.
You've never gone to a condo in either the East Point or Hapeville area with Miss Willis.
Wait, that's different.
An explosive court filing in Atlanta today, now raising new questions about Fulton County District Attorney FANI Willis and the relationship that she had with the special prosecutor that she hired to oversee the election interference case against former President Donald Trump.
Now they have opened themselves up to money laundering, fraud, bribery. She gets to sign off on his claims. And what he's already been paid behind his claims is more than the President of the United States gets in a whole year, more than the U.S. Attorney General gets as a salary for a whole year. And it's 3.5 times what the other 3 experienced lawyers have already put in play for their claims.
Cell phone data obtained by Trump's legal team shows Nathan Wade, that special prosecutor, visited Willis's neighborhood at least 35 times in the 11 months before Willis hired him in late 2021.
Uh-oh. Well, it looks like this new cell phone data has been submitted to the court. In the hearing that FANI Willis and Nathan Wade were a part of, we all saw the testimony, got a kick out of that. But now FANI Willis is hitting back at the Donald Trump defense team. She wants to say that this cell phone data, which uses state-of-the-art technology, is somehow not admissible because this evidence was not submitted to them with 14 days to respond. The lawyers representing Fulton County DA's office are pushing back against the allegations from former President Donald Trump and his co-defendants on whether cell phone data that was gathered that literally shows Nathan Wade and FANI Willis in the same area. They've triangulated them to the same area over 35 times. And some of these times, the wee hours of the morning. Ain't a lot going on in those hours that has to do with work, is what most people are thinking. The crushing part is that this evidence goes in direct contradiction to what DA FANI Willis and Nathan Wade testified to last week.
I'm asking you whether or not prior to November 1st of 2021, there was a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade. That's very simple. It's either a yes or a no.
I don't consider my relationship with him to be romantic before that. I'm not a hand holder, so no.
That's fine. Now, let's move beyond November 1st of 2021, excuse me. I understand your testimony. There was no romantic relationship with Mr. Wade until early in 2022, whether it be January or February or March, early in 2022, correct?
I would say sometime between February and April. Yes, sir.
The cell phone data suggests a prior relationship between the two. The DA's office, responding to an earlier motion filed by Trump's lead attorney in Georgia case, said the cited phone records do not provide anything relevant and should not be considered as evidence in proceedings to decide whether Willis should be disqualified. The records do nothing more than demonstrate that Special Prosecutor Wade's telephone was located somewhere within the densely populated multiple-mile radius where various residences, restaurants, bars, and nightclubs and other businesses are located. Well, see, here's the issue. The person who was using the sophisticated tool that is used to triangulate somebody's location through phone records actually gave Nathan Willis the benefit of the doubt in where he was location-wise. So basically, anytime he was passing by this location in Hapeville, Georgia, where FANI Willis is testified to renting a condo from her friend, who also testified in this case and also had prior knowledge of a relationship between the two of them, it almost tracks him directly to that location. And so anytime he was maybe passing that location, they didn't count that. Anytime that he was headed to the airport, which is also in the area, they didn't count those times. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Nathan Wade appeared to make at least 35 trips and visits to the Hapeville neighborhood where FANI Willis was living. And this is very important. Before the district attorney hired him as the special prosecutor, hired him to lead Fulton County's election interference prosecution. So late Friday, Willis disputed the defendant's evidence in a court filing, seeking to have it excluded. She said the exhibit was filed in violation of court rules, and she said that the records do not prove anything relevant. How convenient. You know, it's just crazy to think that this type of, in this case, potentially extramarital affair could literally stop this case in its tracks. The Trump campaign wants to have the Fulton County DA and her office taken off the case entirely. That would then move it possibly to another jurisdiction that would postpone the case, and that would possibly give them a more sympathetic office that might just throw the whole thing out entirely.
But you would go to the East Point condo, correct?
What East Point condo?
East Point, Hateville, something like that.
I've never been to East Point with Miss Willis.
You've never gone to a condo in either the East Point or Hateville area with Miss Willis.
Wait, that's different. I have gone to a condo in Hateville.
Okay. So Hateville.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have gone to a condo with Miss Willis in Hateville.
I have.
Have you spent the night there?
Never.
Never spent the night.
Never.
Terrence Bradley also received a contract for Fulton County, correct? Correct?
You're asking me about Terrence?
I asked if Terrence Bradley also received a contract for Fulton County.
I believe that he did.
And you were partners with him at that time, correct?
I was.
So under what you testified to earlier, you would get a third of that contract as well, correct?
I would have.
And Chris Campbell also had a contract with Fulton County.
I believe he did.
And so under what you've testified to, you would also get a third of that, correct?
I would.
They both had contracts for what are called first appearance, which is where they would appear on behalf of the district attorney to do first appearance hearings, correct?
There are also over 18 other defendants listed on this case. So it's not just Donald Trump, but Donald Trump being the biggest name and also somebody who is running for president. You know, what it seems like here is that too much was put into the idea that DA FANI Willis had it out for Donald Trump, and she wanted to make a name for herself in some ways, as she's done in other cases, but she wanted to make her impact on this potential election of Trump, re-election of Trump. But the thing about that is, does that fall into the grounds of some type of election interference in itself? Who are you to decide whether this man can be duly elected to the White House? If the people decide, you know, after having 4 years of him and then now 4 years of Joe Biden, that they want to elect a Donald Trump, why would you think that you could, through the courts, figure out a way to stop him, to try and bolster the claim that there was election interference in the last election? It seems like there's a lot more impropriety on the DA's office right now if you look at how it's weighed, because we haven't even really gotten to the case that is talking about the election interference, all the shenanigans that's going on around the DA's office. In the state objection she's filed yesterday, late yesterday, defendant Trump's proposed supplemental exhibit 38 was improperly submitted in direct violation of the court's own standing case management order for criminal cases and should not be considered. Basically, she's saying they've submitted this witness as an expert witness who, if we look into his history, it seems he's pretty familiar with this software that he used to triangulate Nathan Wade's location, and that he was actually in a similar location to FANI Willis. They're also saying that DA FANI Willis has a great excuse for that she was not in the same location at the same time. They must provide written notice to the opposing party. This notice must indicate a meaningful summary of the expert's testimony as well as his or her qualifications to serve as an expert witness. This notice must be provided at least 14 days before the final plea trial calendar call, 7 days before any evidentiary hearing requiring expert testimony. It said defendant Trump provided no written notice to the state. Defendant Trump provided no summary of the purported expert's testimony. Defendant Trump provided no information related to qualifications of the witness to serve as an expert. So let's hear a little bit about this witness to determine whether or not he is an expert, because that would be very important to their claim that he is not an expert. The investigator, Charles Middlestat, said he generated a report that isolated all interactions, including calls and text messages between Wade and Willis. That report revealed over 2,000 voice calls and just under 12,000 interactions exchanged over an 11-month period in 2021. He said in a revised filing, Trump's attorney submitted a new filing Friday afternoon to clarify the types of exchanges between Wade and Willis. Middlestat said a conservative analysis shows a minimum of 35 occasions when Wade's phone was in close proximity for an extended period to the address of the condo where Willis stayed. The data does not pinpoint exact locations. Said he has been specializing in criminal cases for 25 years, wrote that he reviewed Wade's call, text, and location data received through a records request made to AT&T. The analysis claims that Willis and Wade had just under 12,000 interactions via phone, including more than 2,000 phone calls during the 11-month period. Middlestat highlighted two nights in particular. In September 2021, he said the data shows Wade arrived around Willis's condo one night at 10:45 p.m. and remained there until almost 3:30 a.m. About a half hour later, Wade arrived at his home and sent a text to Willis minutes afterwards, the investigator claimed. That's that "did you get home all right, baby?" text. But remember, he's going to his home where his wife lives. Just it's sticky. You know, I know he says he's divorced her in 2015 for something she had done for her infidelity, but it just seems still odd that you're maintaining this whole relationship outside of your relationship, which he didn't file divorce for until he was a day after he was appointed as the special prosecutor. Weeks after Wade began working for Willis, the investigator said the district attorney called Wade about 11:30. According to the analysis, as the call continued, Wade left his home and arrived in the area of Willis's residence. He allegedly remained there until 4:55 a.m. When pressed on his time spent in the area, Wade testified that he could have been nearby locations and not Willis's condo. This is what DA FANI Willis's office is hanging on in their response. They're hanging on the fact that cell phone tracking data is not an exact location, that it triangulates off of the cell phone towers within a certain area. The issue is at hand is that they're saying their relationship, their intimate relationship, didn't start until after the trial started, whereas this cell phone tracking data actually puts them in close quarters, shall we say, at all hours of the night before he was actually hired for this job, which would give the indication of some type of nepotism, impropriety, where she's giving her lover an opportunity that was not necessarily earned or not necessarily above board. I mean, we gotta be clear. Nathan Wade has already made $650,000 from this and stands to make substantially more if this case continues. A private investigator's affidavit filed on Friday notes that Wade's phone was detected in the area of Willis's condo at least 35 occasions between April and November 2021, which is firmly before he's actually put in a position as the lead prosecutor on this case. So does this raise the issue of potential perjury? You know, Willis and Wade in their testimonies stuck to the fact that they did not start a relationship until 2022, even though they've known each other and met each other originally in 2019. Willis testified under oath on February 15th that they were not in a romantic relationship, but they were very good friends. So it's clear, she said, that there was no relationship before November 2021. She considered the start of their relationship the start of their romantic relationship to be sometime between February and April of 2022. This leaves the Trump defense team to say that their romantic relationship definitely created some type of conflict of interest that should have her office removed or the case dismissed entirely. Now, I think they were supposed to have a hearing yesterday, but the judge has weighed in and said that they will resume this hearing, this portion of the hearing, on March 1st. And that these will be the final arguments in this case. So he'll make a decision one way or the other. So yeah, this is all a hot, steaming mess. And it could have all been avoided. Don't hire somebody that you're even potentially going to be in a relationship with. Don't be in a relationship with the DA when you have $650,000 potentially to make at this time. And don't do this if you are trying to get an ex-president convicted for election interference. You know, you should be on your P's and Q's in a moment like this. You should be so sharp that there's no way that they can bring something like this up to the court. It's really still just embarrassing, you know. But anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. If you want to watch more, please watch one of these videos down below. This is Faucette Media.